Hello, everyone, and welcome to A1R Psychic Radio live broadcasting around the world, and also to Moonstruck TV. It's lovely to be with you this evening. Now, I've got some really interesting news about next week, because I'm going to be broadcasting in the afternoon. So for Eastern Standard Time, that will be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then obviously for the Pacific time, it will be, let me see, that would be noon. That would be midday. Yes, midday. And then goodness knows what time it is in Australia, but I'm sure you can work that one out. And then obviously in the UK, that will be 8 p.m. in the evening. So I think that's really good news. So A1R and Moonstruck TV, we're opening up the live broadcast to daytime. So it's going to include lots of potential and possibilities for the UK people, because not everybody is awake at this time of the night. So we're all really, really excited about that and looking forward to that for next week. So that will be actually on Tuesday afternoon, if you're listening and want to connect with me then. So with all my shows, I like to do a little bit of sort of spiritual talking before we get going on the readings. And we've got 2 readings coming up. So I'm excited to be able to connect for you this evening. But, before we start, let's do some sort of, a little sort of spiritual talk and sort of get me in the mood for working. And one of the things that I like to share sort of how I've developed and my experiences with spirit and things like that. But one of the things that I often see is when I'm looking at somebody, I might see a little spark of light by the side of them. And I know that when I'm seeing a spark of light, that it's spirit, because as soon as I start to link in, then I'm seeing the spirit person. But initially, I quite often will see a spark of light. And I wonder, for the viewers that are listening this evening, or in the future, when you're watching it, when it's not live, I wonder how many of you actually see these sparks of light, because they're quite fascinating. And you know what's really weird about it is that the moment you look at it straight on, it disappears. But it's almost like you can see it in your peripheral vision. And so that's quite sort of interesting to be able to see. But, I think that the spirit world have many different ways of connecting to us. It's not just by sort of, showing a sort of spark at light. Sometimes they sort of give us a sort of a little sign. And I think signs are really interesting. For instance, you could be sort of driving along and the number plate on the car is A1R. And so you'd be thinking to yourself, must watch A1R's Psychic TV radio this evening, or something like that. It's sort of, and it may be that's your turn for a reading, of that time. And things like that happen to me all the time. And I remember once when I was working, because I do demonstrations of mediumship, and I was working in a spiritualist church, and I came to this man at the back of the church and said, I need to come to you. And I gave him a message from his father in the spirit world. And what was really, interesting is that he's at the end of the message, which I believe he enjoyed, is he said to me, I wasn't going to come this evening, but I felt this overwhelming urge that I needed to come. And I don't know why. And I just sort of decided to listen to that sort of inner voice and came. And lo and behold, he was the one that got the message. So, it's amazing how spirit try to sort of nudge us. And I think also, intuition, that's another thing, isn't it? Intuition. How many of us, get that thing in our guts, where we're thinking, oh, I really know, I feel this, I feel that, and we ignore it to our peril, because when we ignore that feeling, you just know that feeling was the right feeling. And after the event, you think, oh, why didn't I listen to myself? Because I think that sort of, so listening to your intuition is always important. And sometimes it's that logical mind of ours is the saboteur. It's like, oh no, well, that's not very sensible. We'll do this or the other. But it's remembering to listen to your intuition, because your intuition will always be the right one, and the right sort of example of what needs to be done in your life. So anyway, I have somebody listening, waiting for a reading, and I think we should go to a caller. And I believe that Tony is online. Are you there?
Yes, I am, Gail.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Not too bad. So how can I help you this evening? I'm a medium, which means I can connect to the spirit world, either to my guides or to a loved one, or I can look at aspects of your life, whichever you prefer.
What about, I think maybe the spirit world.
The spirit world. And is there... Pardon?
I don't have like a question, like a specific question.
It's just interesting to sort of have a go and have a reading and see what comes up. Okay, well, I'm going to ask one of my guides to step forward, and I feel that one of my guides, her name is Osteria, and she's stepping forward, and she's I know that she's going to be present throughout the reading, but she's also she's actually telling me that you have a grandfather in the spirit world. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And I feel that this grandfather is on your mother's side of the family.
No.
He's still alive then, is he?
My mother's father, yes.
Right. Okay. Well, I've got a grandfather here, and I know that he seems like he's drawing my attention to your mother, and that's why I thought he was connected to your mother's side of the family. And for some reason, he's drawing my attention to mother. So I'm going to ask him sort of why he's doing that. Right, I'm being told that he, with your mother, he had quite a lot of he had a lot of respect for her. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah, yeah.
And he valued her coming into his family. I feel that he had. It was like he's saying to me, it was like having a daughter come to my family, and he's telling me that he had a great deal of love for her, like a true member of the family, not just an in-law, and I feel, and he's saying to me that he always enjoyed her company, and she always made him feel welcome as well. When they were in each other's company. And he's saying to me that, did your mother sort of help with looking after him towards the end of his life?
I don't really know. I was only 7, I think, when he passed.
Right, because I feel that she had some sort of input in helping him towards the end of his life. and I know that there were times when people would take turns to sit and be with him. And I feel that there was different members of the family. And I think your mother would sit with him. And he's telling me that she used to tell him all sorts of stories. And he used to really look forward to when she would come and sit with him so he could listen to the stories. Because he's saying that she's quite a good storyteller. You know that about your mum, do you?
Yeah.
And she would always make him laugh. And he says that that's just the most wonderful memories that he has of her, of how she was and how warm she was. And he's just wanting to, and I know that it's not her talking to me, but he really wants to get this message to your mum and sort of say how thankful he is for the efforts and the hard work or the welcoming feeling and the fun that she brought to his life. He said that she definitely enhanced his life, the time that he had with her. So I know that he really, really wanted to come forward and sort of say that thank you to her, because he keeps on saying that she was so special to him. And it's not to say that other members of the family weren't, because they were. Yeah. He's a very sweet man, but he's just saying that it's the way she did something so special at the end of his life with the storytelling, and it took his mind off of what he was going through at the time, and he was just it made him happy, and at times laugh as well. He really, really enjoyed your mother's company, and he's saying that she's got a good way of putting a spin on something and saying something that somebody else would say would be just completely normal, but she would twist it in a way that is funny and bring laughter to it. And he says that she's got that real skill. So I know that he's saying to me that he's really happy to come forward and let you know that he's so thankful to her. But he's saying to me also that he wants to give back to her. And he's saying to me that I know this is all. I'm never in control of who comes through and how they do it, and particularly when somebody's open to whatever comes through. So I do apologise. It's not a lot about you, but he's saying that he wants to give back to her, and he's saying to me that she is in need of some spiritual love at the moment. Would you understand that?
Yeah.
And he's saying that he wants to support her at this time and be around her and give her that love that she did all those years for him. And he's making a promise to you that he's going to be doing that.
Okay.
He's now switching to yourself. Did you go to, in England, we call it university, but I think in America, you call it school, don't you? Or college. Yeah. Yeah. Did you go to college, the higher education?
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing you graduate, and I feel that your grandfather was there and very proud of what you achieved. Because there was something about your university that was a little bit of a stop-start. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And he says that you managed to get through it and get to the end against all odds. It's sort of almost like you achieved more than just getting your university or college qualification. And he said it was just one of the proudest moments to be there with you and see you achieve that great time. And so again, he's letting you know that he's in your life. Tony, I'm really sorry, but we've run out of time, and I've got another caller waiting. It's all very quick, isn't it? But do find me on Facebook, Gail Moffat, if you want to speak to me, or my website is gailmoffat.com. So either one. If you have a question or just want to chat, that's fine. It'd be lovely to hear from you. So thank you so much for calling in. Thank you.
Thank you so much for reading, Gail. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. So, hello. I believe we have somebody else calling in. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Is Sierra there?
Yes.
Oh, hi. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. So how can I help you? I'm a medium and I'm a psychic. So I can connect to the spirit world, either to my guides or to loved ones in the spirit world. How would you like me to work this evening?
Well, my kid's father passed away 3 years ago, and it was kind of dramatic for me, and like I don't feel him around me anymore, and like I've been going through some things now in my current relationship, and I just found out I'm pregnant, and like I feel like I'm alone because now he doesn't want anything to do with the baby. So now I'm just like, I lost both of my kids' father, and I just feel like so alone, and I don't know what to do. And like I've been crying a lot and just like asking him like to talk to me or whatever, and I just maybe come in my dreams or.
All right. Well, let me connect because sadly we've only got 8 minutes, but you can find me on Facebook if you need to speak to me after the show or tomorrow. But I am aware of a gentleman that's stepping forward, and he's saying, I'm here, sort of like he's sort of like, keep on, impatiently talking to me like, I'm here. And he's, and he's sort of like putting his hands on his head, and he said, oh, Lordy. Stuff like that. Would you have spoken a bit like that?
Yeah.
And he's saying, almost like he can't believe what's going on at the moment. And have you got an older child?
Mm.
Are you there, Sierra?
Yes, I'm here.
You've got an older child, have you?
I can't. The phone kind of breaks. Can you say that again?
You've got an older child.
Yes, I do.
And I get the feeling that you've been having some problems with your oldest child, a bit behaving a bit like a teenager.
Yeah.
And because he's saying that he's sort of the father of your child. He's like stamping his feet. He said, I wouldn't put up with that. The way this person speaks to you. So he's a bit upset about that. But he's saying to me, that when he was alive, he was quite principled, and he was quite set in his ways, and he sort of knew what was right and wrong, and very much was disciplined. And he's put a book in my hand, and I think this is a Bible. So I feel that he may have been quite religious. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And he's saying to me, he's sort of, because he has this ethical side to him, of what's right and what's wrong. He doesn't approve of some of the things that are going on around you. And he's showing me a photograph that looks a bit sort of, it's like a photograph that I don't feel is in a frame, but it looks a bit sort of like you've carried it around with you, and like sort of like a bit worn out, this photo. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And it's a photo of, I feel it's got a photo of him, and he's pointing my attention to this photo, and he's so glad that you have this photo. And he says to me that whenever you want, just call me, because I will be there, and I don't, he'll never ever let you down. And he's making me tap on my heart, and he says, I still love you. I still love you. And, and his love for you is very strong, very strong. And he's saying, has somebody sort of like slammed doors? Because he's showing me slamming doors.
Yeah.
Like in a heated sort of conversation. Because he's showing that to me, and he's saying that there's some arguments, going on around you, and he's trying really hard to put this bubble of light around you and protect you and sort of lift your spirits as well. And he's just thumbing through the Bible, and he's wanting to quote something from the Bible. Goodness knows what he wants to quote, but I know he wants. And he's drawing my attention to Corinthians, that he wants to quote something from Corinthians. Would he have done that when he was alive, want to sort of quote something out of a Bible?
No, I never. I used to read the Bible a lot, but he was afraid to die, okay. So I guess I don't know.
Well, he's drawing my attention to this Bible, and he's wanting to. Maybe you were a powerful influence, because he's got this Bible with him now, and he's wanting to quote something from Corinthians, because he's showing me Corinthians. He's also saying to me that he's fed up, because he feels that not fed up. He feels that. You mentioned that he was afraid to die, but I feel that he also passed too early as well in his life. He didn't have the sort of longevity that he would have liked.
Yeah.
And also there's a lady with him, and I feel that this is a grandmother. So I feel that he.
Oh my God! Yes.
He's met up with his grandmother, and. He wanted you to know that they're there together, and he's very, very sort of pleased to be with her, and he's saying to me that she used to care for him a lot when he was growing up.
Yeah.
Now, see, I'm ever so sorry, but we're running out of time. We're coming to the end of the show, and so I'm sorry about that. And but thank you for calling in. And if you need me, just contact me on Facebook. Gail Moffat, my name is. So it'd be lovely to hear from you. And So thank you very much for calling in. So anybody, if you want to find me, you can find me on gailmoffat.com or on Facebook, Gail Moffat, International British Medium and Teacher. So it would be lovely to speak to you. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.